ba ba baby. It's about the ball la la la. And we are live. Yo yeah. Happy 420, April 20, Thursday, day before MOPEX monthly operations, monthly expirations. Interesting day today. Let's see. Let's get this cooking. Are we cooking here? I'll tell you what. Good job by the Bears for the first time in a long time. I think we went green for half a second or so. But the VIX went down and didn't make new lows, but it got pretty close. 1633. Yesterday was at 1618, 1616. High yesterday was 1773. Today's 1768. So an inside day for the VIX. Again, like this thing doesn't. This is a lagging indicator, not a leading one. This thing's not going to spike unless people are hedging with puts further out. It's like a 30-day hedge. Previous 30-day hedge indicator so it's like a insight to what's happening in the options market. And you'd think, topper range, just fresh out of a banking crisis, Tesla down 10%, Bitcoin's down 2,000. Tax return numbers are really bad. There's a debt ceiling that's about to be hit way sooner than they thought. Putin wants to invade UK. And yet the VIX just can't, no one's hedging. No one's interested. And there's multiple reasons why. One is, believe it or not, people are already short and slowly just getting throttled every day. I think we saw that today as well. We're kind of making our way back. Basically what they did last night was what they did 2 nights ago, just slowly just leak the market all night long, because bears do their best work when everybody's sleeping, because they have no gusto. So they leak it back down to what, the 4140-ish. And then sure enough, market's open. We rip, pull back a little bit to test it, then make new highs, then make even newer highs. And when in doubt, when the bears can't get anything done, then they start hitting the negative headlines. And Putin wants to invade UK. Started a sell algo, a huge one actually. I haven't seen that type of size in a while, so that's interesting. Volume today was actually pretty good, even though the tape was really slow. I think volume today outpaced yet the last 3 days actually. And yet here we are, just sitting at 41.55 in the ES, 41.30 in the SPX. Going into operation, why do I keep saying that? Monthly expiration tomorrow, and that usually kind of get a big swing in the morning, then have to do absolutely nothing all day, and then get some moves late in the day when everybody's fed up on a Friday, and it's probably gonna be nice out, so people are gonna ditch their desks, so you might get a late move. But the market's just sitting here top of range. Today's algo sell off on Putin was for a minute there looked pretty rough. We tried to bounce a little bit, and then they flicked it right back on and really blew it out to new lows at 41.37. But it held. They made new lows, came back down, and then buyers stepped in. And then the other funny thing they like to do is, if anybody follows the MOC orders, they release the preliminary numbers of MOC. MOC's market on close. So, funds and stuff will basically say like on the close we have to buy or sell this amount of whatever, and then I'll total up. And today, the first one usually comes out at 10 minutes before the close. So, my time would be 2:50 Central Standard Time. So 10 minutes before the close. And that number initially was 2 billion to sell. So like just collectively, people are going to be selling 2 billion worth of, equities on the close. So, nearing the end of the last minutes of the day. I tweeted out, the amount of times that preliminary number is completely wrong is pretty incredible. Actually, it's almost the Jim Cramer of numbers, where unless it's huge and it's a big rebalance day, there's something funky going on at the end of the day, and then you'll see that's usually real. But on a day like today, when it's not much in terms of headlines and the market's still kind of range bound, it was just obvious that was a bullshit number. I actually caught the move. I bought the 4130 SPXs at I actually bought them at 30 cents. I bought a little more at 10 cents. Right after that number came out, and then sure enough, at 251, kind of popped up. We did a 5-point pop, and then we did the big old boy, which is another 10-point. We rallied 15 points in the last 4 minutes of the day. So those collected. I sold them at 250. They went to 275, I think, and then settled back at 15 cents. So those are those high risk, high rewards that you buy a couple. You spend $100 and you can turn that into 2K real quick in 6-7 minutes. Anyways, I don't recommend doing that. I'm just saying that those MLC orders are love to just fuck with you mentally. Don't look too much into them unless, again, there's a big rebalance going on, like the S&P is rebalancing or whatever. If you don't know what that is, let me know. I'll go over that at on a later time. But I mean, I talked about yesterday Tesla because those numbers were out or whatever. The call was pretty. I listened to some of it. It was pretty. Like no one was really interested in being there, and Elon was testy per usual. Probably because he realizes that the market's starting to wake up to the fact that Tesla's a car company and their margins are slowly getting fucked because demand's going down, and if they want to maintain their market share, they have to cut prices, and if they keep cutting prices, they keep cutting their margins lower and lower. And their margin's going to end up being just like all the legacy car makers. So I think people are starting to wake up to that. And I saw on, a lot of people coping on Twitter about it today and talking about FSD and it's so much better than everybody else, and autopilot's incredible. And it's like, first off, they're like the same thing. Secondly, who gives a shit? Is that value add? They're not leaders in that at all. Waymo's way better. Baidu's way better. There's a few more that are way better in that field, and then they're doing it ethically and morally and not testing it on a bunch of human beings that didn't consent to it. Like if I walk down the street and I see a Tesla, I tend to, have my eyes on the thing the whole time and make sure it doesn't fucking just accelerate and try to take me out. And it's supposed to be a value add to that car. And people are, I don't know. I think people are just in denial about it. And you gotta be objective in this game. And when you see someone on Twitter you go through their timeline for, 2-3 days, quick scroll, and it's Tesla, then they're trying to convince themselves that Tesla will go back to highs. And sorry, I just don't see it. I really don't. Their energy wing isn't doing great. Those margins stink. Battery storage stinks. And they keep expanding, which means they keep spending money, which means their margins are going to get cut again. Even if they sell more cars, their overhead's bigger. They're selling more cars at a lower price. Margins get smoked. It's a car company. The sooner people realize that, the happier you'll be, because you won't ride this thing back down to $100. I think it's going 132. Let's see. I had this up earlier. Where did I have it? Yeah, it's going to fill the gap at 147. And then I think she goes down to, where did I get that 132 from? I might have been looking at something else. 147, then probably down to 124. And shit, if that breaks, then I think we're going back sub 100. And frankly, I think it probably should be there. I don't think this company is worth, their free cash flow is getting smoked. Tesla 516. So I'm thinking this thing drops another, I don't know, about 50, maybe 30%. 30, yeah, right? 160. I can't do math right now. For like 53, 54, $54. So I wanted to do it off market cap. Yeah, like 110. This thing's going. I think it's going to 110. I think it's got 30% trim, and I still think that. And if it does break below 100, it's gonna be 68 long-term target. If things keep going down the path they're going, which is south, I don't see why not. I called this when he wanted to buy Twitter and started going after, the left a little bit. I said they're going to come for him, and they're going to come for his stock too, and that's certainly what happened. All-time highs are $413. Jesus, that's like a 200%, 300% increase from here. So this thing rallies 300%. No. Just no. On what? On nothing. On nothing. On hope. So that's what I mean. If you keep convincing yourself and not being objective, this market will take you out. That's how it goes. That's the name of the game. All right. Novix, I think all that hedging has been finalized. All the hedging off the offering options today were pretty quiet. If you look, so if you zoom out a little bit, obviously the daily doesn't. It's like I don't want to say a typical looking chart, but a typical type of move for a small, growth company where you have these big runs and it kind of gives it most of it back, and then pops back. They're whippy. But if you look at, so the daily actually held up pretty good today. The options were pretty quiet. Again, earnings in 4 days, next Wednesday. If you look at the weekly, I mean, this thing is looking actually pretty solid. Inside week so far with heavy volume, sell volume. If it holds above 12 tomorrow, and actually, ideally it closes above 1260 tomorrow. I'm actually looking for this thing to tag 1356. I'll put it right back at its 200 going into next week. I think that's not unreasonable. But if this somehow finishes above 1371, tomorrow, then the weekly has a whole different look. The daily looks incredible. This thing's one good day away from just completely annihilating all bears, and bears are getting real loud on this thing, which is usually a good sign. Let's see, I think I said this 4, 8, 10. So 3 out of the last 10 days are green, and we're down. What's the number? And we're down $1 on the week. 2 weeks of selling, we're down $1. Think about that. Going into earnings. So there's going to be a lot of updates with that. What's going on in Malaysia, production, how that financing is going to be used, and probably updated production numbers too. If they say they're going to increase, not double, but 140% again, I mean, there's a lot of bullish catalysts for this thing. Let's see. Then, so I think I talked about that. LRCX Lamb Research. God, I told us yesterday to watch this thing in the morning, and I don't know what I was doing, but I wasn't thinking. This thing right before the bell popped $15. Right at the bell popped another 15, and then it had one big red candle, and that was our opportunity. It went from 523 to 510, and then just straight back up. Made highs in the afternoon, then that bullshit Putin headline came out, and it kind of sold back off, and now it's sitting back. Actually had a great close, huge volume into the close, brought it back to 525, but sorry, I should have been on this one. I was yesterday. I said, let's watch this thing, because it could fly, and it gave us an entry in the morning. The 125s, they opened at 123, spiked to 6, went back to 130, and then made a high midday at 10. Right Post-it notes. When you have these hot ideas, I usually do this, but I didn't. If you have these hot ideas, on today, write a Post-it note, put it on the bottom of your screen that says watch this name, so you remember. I mean, I probably have 100 tickers I'm looking at, and sometimes things just kind of get lost. So if I have that Post-it note, I look it up, then I'd be looking at that one going into the morning. And opportunity missed, big time opportunity missed. I mean, that's 8x. Just silly stuff, just silly. A lot of these went 10x. A lot of them went 10x. Oh well, I do think if tomorrow's good, I think PCs tomorrow, I don't think the market really gives a shit about anything anymore, so. But I think it's tomorrow. Let's see. They're going to do the same thing they did the last 2 nights, and you can sell ES right now and probably buy it back at like 41.37. Right now it's 41.50. Let's see, German PPI, that should move the markets for no reason. Jobless claims, the market really doesn't give a shit about that unless something big happens. Philadelphia Fed Manufacturing Index. Oh wait, that's all today. Great Britain, core retail sales like that matters. Like that affects the U.S. market. They tried to do that a couple nights ago with the UK inflation number. That worked out. PMI. That's it? PMI. Yeah, so nothing really going on tomorrow. PMI is whatever. What's nice is, oh no, Cook speaks after the close. This will be the first day in a while we don't have some fucking narcissistic Fed member talking, barking the same old spewing nonsense as they usually do. So that should be good. Earning. I think we got one big earning in the morning. Freeport. Nah, earnings are pretty whatever tomorrow. Yeah, they're whatever. Procter and Gamble, but that's not a market mover. And it doesn't give a lot of insight on the consumer either. Netflix was another one I wanted to watch today, and I totally botched it. I totally botched this one. It almost did the same thing. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not even gonna look at it. All right. I think they'll do for me. Rum looked like it was gonna have a pretty rough day, and then came back and it held that 9 spot. It broke the trend line, but it's sitting above the clouds. It's gonna be a choppy run for this one, but 9's holding so far. It did breach it, so I might breach it again, but again, long-term play on rum. Let's see. I think that's it for me. Yeah, don't be stubborn. Be objective. I guess I saw someone on Twitter yesterday. I called them out on it. They posted, I guess it was 2 days ago. They posted a bunch of, they posted a picture of all the puts that were being purchased in envx out in the Jan. I think did I talk about this yesterday? I might have. Oh, interesting. Out in the Jans. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Jesus, look at this option chain. The open interest in the Jan 9 2024 is pretty incredible. So that all that hedging yesterday, in the past 2 days, caused the market maker to adjust their position to be net neutral on these options. So when they're buying, I mean, open interest in the 35s is almost 10K. Anyway, someone posted a picture and they just showed the put side of it and didn't show the call side, and the call side had more volume than the put side. And like, oh, look at all the puts being bought. Damn, out. Sell this thing to zero. Just be objective. You can be wrong. That's fine. I'm wrong. I'm definitely wrong. But I tried to be objective about it. I try to ask questions to poke holes in what I think is right. So if I get a hot idea, then all I do is, or if someone else has a hot idea, all I do is ask questions to try to see how sound either mine or whoever else's theory or thesis on why they're long or short something. I called it contrarian quite a bit, but I'm just trying to see how sound the thesis is. If it's sound, then it's a good combo of constructive feedback and ideas and whatever else. But if they get testy and start, getting a little bit rude, then they're not being objective. They just want acceptance on their thoughts. It's not good for if you're an investor or whatever else, but whatever. Let's see. Bitcoin. So this is also interesting. Bitcoin seems to have detached itself again from, damn, this thing's pretty tight. From, I'm looking at the fucking, that's a NASDAQ chart? Jesus, I didn't realize how tight the NASDAQ was. I'll just finish on Bitcoin and I'll leave you guys alone. Chart. Trading tools. So for a while, this was, when the whole regional bank thing kind of blew up, coin detached itself from the kind of the speculative risk asset book. This thing used to rally on risk on and then sell off on risk off. It broke away from that during that whole banking scare, and then started doing its own thing. But now it's starting to seem like it's decoupling a little bit. But we'll see. Keep an eye on that. 28 should hold. If it doesn't, it's back to 25. And if that doesn't, then we're right back to 20. But I could see it basing here for a little while, and we'll see how it does with the basket of risk assets. And then we'll see if it's back to its old ways or if it really is a new regime for Bitcoin. So keep an eye on that one. And with that, I will leave you alone. Okay. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow. Maybe not. I don't remember. Maybe. I'll try to do one. All right. Love you guys. Bye.